I mean, when and why, I guess more specifically, did you first start thinking about doing a solo record? I mean, have you always been one of these band guys? Like, I always wanted to be in a band,
Yeah.
or were you always?
No, I've always been a band dude. Man.
You were always a band guy.
I dig the teamwork.
You do.
Yeah, I like working in a team much more.
You do. So
I'm just kind of starting off on this, so I'm kind of figuring it out as I go on. There are some cool things, and there are other things that are a little more crazy and demanding, like this process, for instance. And this is just one, but it's just you. You know, there's not like a whole band to take care of it. You know, and but also on the other hand, you know, you have a lot of freedom, and with a lot of freedom comes a lot of responsibility.
Absolutely.
You know, so yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So, I mean, were any of these songs written for Alice?
I think Heard a Long Time and Settling Down were around since the Alice in Chains record.
Right.
And I think we actually tried both of them, but they just didn't end up working.
Yeah.
You know. And
I mean, certainly not the arrangements you've got going. I mean, Settling Down specifically.
Yeah.
I mean,
well, I don't know, man. I mean, the cool thing with Alice is like I think we were able to do a lot of shit that maybe people didn't expect us to do, and we were always down for trying something outside of where people maybe thought we were, or even where we maybe thought we were.
You were? I mean, you really got slammed for that?
No, I don't think we got slammed for it. What I'm saying is, I think we were.
Oh, you like.
I think we always welcomed that kind of a thing.
Right.
I think it was pretty well accepted. I mean, with Jar of Flies and subsequently people digging back to Sap. You know, I mean, those were two completely different directions than Facelift and Dirt, which was where the majority of people knew us from. You know, that fucking hot, heavy, dark shit. So, so I think we made some moves early on, and I think that will paid off later by giving us freedom to kind of get a little wackier and kind of do stuff. And then as the later records went on, you know, you can see a lot more of that exploration, you know. And it was accepted, you know. I mean, there's definitely were some people who were like, fuck that, man, Dirt rocks, you know, I don't hear that fucking acoustic shit, you know. There were some of those, and then there were others who were like, fuck, I like your acoustic stuff better than I like that heavy metal shit, you know, so. But, you know, it's just, looking back on it all, it's just pretty incredible, you know, that, you know, we did some good work, man, and we did some diverse work. You know, I don't think we ever really stayed in a hole. We always changed a little bit. We always moved ahead, and it's something I'm really proud of. You know.
So then that's the main memory that I'm not saying that the band is gone, but at this point that's the memory you have of all that work.
That's my memory. I mean
it's not.
I don't base our value or our validity on rumors or stories or press. You know, drugs. You know. Inactivity, fucking rock casualty, those things, I don't think about that shit. It sells a lot of papers, that's cool. What I think about is, you know, we got into this business, we got into this thing as four kids in a rock band from Seattle. We were playing bars in Seattle. We're a bar band turned fucking into what it is now, you know, and that is incredible, you know, that is the fact. You know, the other stuff is peripheral.
Right.
You know, even though it has meaning and that maybe, you know, it's definitely well chronicled. You know, that is not the bulk of what this is about or what it was. You know, and it never has been and never will be for me. You know, you know, it's like.
So as many times as you say it, do you think people will?
I don't care. I don't care if people don't dig it, man.
I mean, believe it is what I'm saying.
Well, I don't care if people believe it or what. I'm not doing this to fucking please anybody else but myself and the guys in the band. So, you know, speaking for Alice and speaking of this record, I'm really unconcerned with that. You know, it's not fun to read that shit. It's not fun to deal with your family bringing you shit like that, you know, and your grandmother gets a magazine talking about fucking heroin addiction and shit like that. It's definitely not a great thing, you know, put yourself in somebody else's shoes.
Oh, absolutely.
You know, if that was happened to you, you know, I don't think you'd be too happy of a person either at that particular moment. But do you base your worth and your value on what other people think of you, or do you believe in yourself? You know, that's really what it comes down to. You know, my view of myself does not, that stuff doesn't weigh too heavy, you know. It's there. I've been through some of that shit. I've been through that stuff. I've dealt with it, constantly reminded of it. So it is a little sliver there. But as far as me as a person, how I deal with things, and I can say the same for the other guys in the band. You know, it's a much smaller part of life, and it's a much lower on my scale of important things. So.
Yeah, I understand. So going out to do this solo record, I mean, does the writing take on a different kind of an emotional level? In other words, you're writing all the music, I'm assuming all the lyrics and the changes, and as opposed to Alice, I mean, the stuff,
Sure.
you know,
I think
and singing it, obviously.
that was a lot different, and I think I was really aware of the fact that I did not want to do something that was forced, or maybe try to do something that I was out of my character or range or whatever, if you will. I think I was really concerned with letting it develop slowly and letting it develop naturally. And it is a new thing, so it took a lot of work, this record, for me.
Really?
You know, it really did in a lot of ways. And I'm very thankful for the fact now, even through the setbacks and artistic and times where you just hit the wall, you know, artistically, like, fuck, is this shit good, or does this suck, or whatever, you know.
You would say those kinds of things?
Sure, I think any artist does, you know. Sometimes, I mean, you have to question yourself, you know. You have to, I mean, if you care at all for what you do, you've got to have those feelings about it, you know. I mean, you never know how people are going to react to anything that you put out. Any time that I have tried to do that, I've been completely proved wrong. So, you know, I mean, I really have, and so really, what you have to do is create a record that you love. You know what I mean? And the way for me to do that was to go about it the way I did with this record, and that was kind of really taking some time and letting it develop on its own. So, but I think on a personal level, like you said, or an emotional level, I think there is a certain area that I write from, I guess, and it's no different than writing for Alice. I write how I write. You know what I mean? It's the process is no different, and the area that I draw from when I write is no different from Alice or with this. I don't really consider it different. I just write. You know, what makes it different, maybe in Alice, is having the other individuals in the band, tempering ideas that you bring in, or adding to, or expanding on something that you already had. Now that's definitely different than in this situation. Although Sean, who did this record with me, and it's really great having him there for familiarity, but that's a smaller thing. But there's an unspoken thing there, a connection, a bond, and he's a good soundboard too, you know, to bounce things off of. So I had some of that too. But as far as like what you're used to doing for 11 years and then trying to do something else, it's different, you know.
Definitely.
Yeah.
So I mean, what did you want to say with the record?
I don't know if I really wanted to say anything. I wanted to make
lyrically, where do these ideas come from? I mean, obviously they're parts of your life. I mean, are they books? Is it film? Is it relationships? Is it?
Could be any number of those things, you know. It's really.
Were they easy for you to write lyrics?
Yeah, it's been. I mean, it wasn't any easier or harder than it's ever been. It's a process, you know. I mean, sometimes things come really quick and easily, and sometimes you got to work your ass off for something, you know. And usually it's like the most simple thing that you got to fucking work your ass off, and something complicated just fucking falls together. It's a bizarre thing. It's a trippy thing, life, you know. Shit that should be so simple is so fucking difficult, and vice versa, you know. Where a lot of this stuff came from is just, you know, it came from pretty close to home, you know, around me, or things I felt, or things I went through, you know, or experienced, you know, growing through life, you know.
So are you this closet romantic then?
Closet romantic. That's good. Would you like something to drink?
No, I'm good.
Closet romantic. Um, I miss not being with somebody, I guess, intimate, close. And I think that there's some songs on there that deal with a breakup of a relationship. There's quite a few on there, and yeah.
Interesting.
But
Yeah.
yeah, there's quite a few on there, and there's some situations and experiences I went through. So I wrote about how I felt about them.
I mean, on some levels, do you think that people would have been more open with this had Alice in Chains never happened and Jerry Cantrell, the solo artist, came out with Boggy Depot? Nothing to be measured against.
Well, it's still early to tell. I mean, there's been some horrible reviews, and there's been some really great reviews, and there's been a lot in the middle of the road. But reviews are not what I base my. I don't think that a record is great or bad because of a review. I mean, I read reviews about movies or albums, and it usually has nothing to do with how I feel about it. And generally, that's one person's opinion for that publication. I think the real critics are the fans, so that really remains to be seen, how people relate to it. That's still in the early stages, and that's really the only critics I give a fuck about anyway. So, really. So, number one, how I feel about it, and I feel it's a good record, and I feel I feel that I grew a lot, and there's a lot of cool shit there. And number two, we'll see how people respond to it. I think coming out of a band like Alice, that we've had such a strong career with music, and continues to be an entity, even though we seem to not be. You know what I mean? Even though that is the case, it still seems to be valid, and people still dig it, and that's really what you strive for, And to have achieved something like that is a really cool thing.
Absolutely.
But to come out of that, there's going to be a lot of people that just can't let go of that, or will not see it in the light maybe that it should be seen in, just on its own. But I don't really. I think it's just a natural thing. I mean, if I continue to do this, hopefully people will get used to it. But we'll see how it goes. It's all new right now, and really all it's about is making music and having fun doing it.
I mean, say the last 5 years, like even 10 years. I mean, have you seen a change in the role of the guitar player and the role of guitar in music? I mean, MTV.
Well, I think that there used to be a lot more kind of guitar heroes. Your Eddie Van Halens and your guys like that. And when I was growing up, there was a lot of really talented. I guess your lead players, your more pyrotechnic kind of players, that just fucking can rip your face off. Technically really proficient guys. I think it's definitely gone a lot more songwriting than individual merit, I guess, within a band. And I don't think I've seen that in a while. You know what I mean? Like a guy that's just like, that guy is fucking badass. It's like he really stands out that much, and that. I mean, our music, if you noticed, I don't really wank off a whole lot either, as far as soloing.
You don't. Your solos are more like these.
But it's kind of more added to the song, and that's the kind of school I come from. But that's all. I also took a few classes in your Yngwie Malmsteen and Eddie Van Halen 101 too. I mean, I had my days in that too, and I enjoy that stuff. And as early Van Halen, listening to the tone that he had and the just the way he played. Nobody played like that, and there hasn't been a guy that would fucking change music like that in a long time, as far as a guitar player. And I really cite him as like a guy that like a fucking Page or a fucking Hendrix, a guy that's like, wow, that's this guy, what I mean? To me, those are like some of my favorite and most guys I really respect.
Really?
And I've never, to this day, I've never heard anybody sound like him, but what I'm saying, in this decade of music, I haven't really seen many guys that really kind of are of that stature to come around and just do something that amazing with their tone, their playing, and the band they're with. I haven't seen that happen in a while.
So you never really wanted that thing then, that mantle?
I did early on.
Cloak?
Sure, I did early on. I wanted to be up there, fucking doing my solo and fucking all that kind of stuff. But But you know, then I got into this band, you know, and I always came from. I kind of came from the dual guitar bands. I really like the dual guitar bands, and I like a lot of British metal bands. You know, I like the fucking Maiden. I like Maiden, Scorpions, Judas Priest, Thin Lizzy, you know, and even like, you know, Leonard Skinner. I like dual guitars, and I kind of started off playing rhythm, so I like rhythm, you know.
I mean, honestly, that's I think that's the biggest part of your playing is your rhythm stuff. Really,
Right.
That's how you do that stuff.
Right.
I mean that's
Cool.
Yeah.
That's
I got-
really where I mean.
Yeah.
So I guess I started from there, and then I had my phase where I, you know, wanted to kind of, you know, I kind of got into your more technically proficient cats, you know, and I kind of went that route for a while, but this was all in my search, you know, to find myself, you know, and where I found myself was in this band. That's when it really settled in. That first record, we found something, and we're like, wow, this is the shit. This is something different. This is something that feels right. And it was something that we felt completely comfortable doing because it was natural, you know. And we found a place together, and we created something out of it, you know, and that's a fucking cool thing.
Absolutely.
And so that's where it really began, and it's just kind of grown from there, you know.